So in today's video, we are going to talk about this bad boy right here, Nikon's newest release, the Nikon Zfc. I've been testing this out for the past 5 days or so, and I gotta say it's pretty flippin' amazing, and I cannot wait to share my results with you guys. Hey everyone, my name is Indira and I'm a content creator and photographer from the San Francisco Bay Area, and on this channel I like to do gear reviews, camera reviews, and from time to time vlogging. So if that's something that you are interested in, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to keep updated, and it also does really help the channel out. Anyways, we are talking about the new Nikon Zfc. So I was lucky enough to test this bad boy out for a little bit. I'm using the Nikon Zfc with the f2Z adapter and then the 10 to 24 f3.5 to 4.5 wide angle lens, and this is a pretty awesome combination. Not only do you get that, equivalent to 16 millimeters, but you also get just a really simple package, and it's still small, still compact. So using this camera has been so much fun, and honestly I just want to get right into it. It's a APS-C size body, so it is crop sensor, and it comes with a body only, and it also comes with a kit lens, the 16 to 50. But the price point of this body goes for $959 before tax. Considering the price and the features that this camera packs, I think that's a fantastic price point. And honestly, I even think in some cases for what this can do, it's even a little bit low of a price point, but it's perfect for people who want to get into content creation, photography, or who need that lightweight travel camera. This is pretty perfect, and I think they were spot on with the price point of this camera, especially for the body only. If you consider the f2Z adapter with this lens, you're probably putting in another $500–600, but even with that, you're still getting an amazing vlogging package that has literally all the features you could want in a camera for probably $1,500, which honestly is pretty good considering what this camera can do. So the Nikon Zfc is more geared toward video-centric content creation. I'm not going to talk about the photography features of this camera because Nikon is already known for their amazing photography capabilities, and so I'm going to focus more on the video aspects of this camera, and specifically for making YouTube videos and for content creation. So this camera can do full HD at 120 frames per second. So you do have that buttery smooth 120 frames per second. It does not have digital IS when you turn to 120 frames per second, but honestly I found that you don't even need it, and it's still pretty stable. And yes, it does have autofocus in that mode, and I'm so happy that for the price point Nikon included that, because that was one of my biggest gripes with my Canon 90D. They never installed autofocus with 120 frames per second, and that camera brand new was like $1,200 for the body only, and this is less than that, and they're giving us that feature, and I think that's a really smart move on Nikon, and I'm so happy that they gave us what we should have at this price point. It's very generous of them. It can also do 4K up to 30 frames per second, which is a nice feature to have, especially if you're doing talking head videos like this and you want just a little bit more quality. It does have digital stabilization, which I found was pretty good. It worked pretty well. And of course, it has that flippy screen, which I think honestly every camera nowadays should have a flippy screen. That's one thing that I think Nikon was a little bit late to the game to, was having a camera that had a flippy screen. But now that it's implemented, it is so easy to create content, and I think it's a really smart move that for this YouTube-centric camera that they added that flippy screen. The other thing to talk about is how are the ergonomics of this camera. Now, ergonomics is the feel of when you're using a camera. How does it feel to use it? Do certain buttons get in the way? Do certain things get in the way of you creating content? We're just chilling in the park right now. There's Bradley. And the eye autofocus, just like everything about this is really easy to use, and it's super lightweight. Even with the adapter and this lens, it's super lightweight. It's just like easy to vlog, carry around, have the flippy screen out, change the settings. Like, it's just super easy, and it looks really good, and you don't have to do much grading at all, so it's pretty cool. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good, pretty cool. Especially the old body style design too.
The ergonomics of this camera is pretty beautiful. I think it was a really, really smart idea that Nikon wanted to recreate their older film cameras and bring it to the new digital age. The dials are very easy to turn, very intuitive. It has a little flip for video or stills. The materials, they are lighter materials, so this camera is really, really lightweight. Like, it's insanely lightweight. You know, throw it around. You know, that's probably making you nervous. I'm sorry, I won't do that anymore. But it's a good looking camera, and it is so lightweight that I don't even think you really need a tripod for this. You could use a Joby GorillaPod and that's fine, but honestly, when I used this, I just held it by the lens. It does have a microphone jack on the side. It does not have a headphone jack, which honestly I think is perfectly fine for this price point. Also, the menu system on this camera is super, super easy to use. Anyone can just pick up this camera and go into video or photo mode and easily change the settings. It comes with one card slot and it's on the very bottom. Also, the battery life for this camera is pretty good, honestly, for what it's doing. I used this at a park and I was filming all different types of stuff, and I saw the battery life go down just a little bit, so I'm very happy that they went with this type of battery because it holds up pretty well. So some things that I would like to see in the second iteration of this camera is I think Nikon should keep the design, the vintage look of this camera, but add a couple of little things to make the ergonomics just a little bit easier to use. For example, the grip on this camera, it doesn't really have a proper grip, if you can see that. And I have small hands, and even for me, it's a little bit tough to grip, and it's something that you probably would need to have straps on if you're walking around with this camera because it's just really awkward to hold sometimes. I think for if you were using this for photography and for going around town and taking photos, you would definitely need straps for this camera. Also, another reason why I think they should add a little bit more of a grip to this camera and possibly move the battery to the other side to make room for that is that all of these buttons, if you can see that here, when you put your hand here, it kind of start hitting all of these different buttons at once, and you can accidentally hit buttons. Like sometimes I accidentally would hit this front button, which changes the white balance, and so you could accidentally hit that and change a mode or accidentally like change a dial by accident. Also, in the second iteration, I would like to see a 10-24 mirrorless lens specifically for this camera. If Nikon paired a 10-24 mirrorless lens with this camera as a kit, that they could definitely up the price a little bit, and I think it would totally be worth it to up the price, get a little bit more. So I think hopefully Nikon is working on that and they release that at least for the holiday season. So if people wanted to, buy this camera with that and pair it with that hypothetical lens, I think that would be a really smart move by Nikon. Another thing that I would like to see is tally lights on the second iteration of this camera. Right now, when you turn it on and you press record, you just have a little record symbol that says that you're recording, and that's fine, but I wish it at least had a tally light in the front that is either green or red and stays on when you are filming for video, so you know that you are recording. I think tally lights are really important for video nowadays, and it should be the standard. And one last thing that I would like to see in the second iteration of this camera is having a N log or a Nikon log for video. I noticed that they did not have that in this camera, which honestly I think was fine because the colors straight out of camera with this, using the neutral picture profile, was amazing. Honestly, Nikon colors have always been just really crispy. I really like how the greens are in Nikon. They just make it pop, and the skin tones are also really good. But I think for people who want to take videography and YouTube a little bit more serious, adding a Nikon log to the second iteration of this would be a really smart move on Nikon. And even if they have to up the price of the body to add those extra features in, I think that this camera is perfectly warranted for that, and I would have liked to see some type of log profile. Hopefully in the next one we will get that in this camera. Alright, there you guys go. That is my official review of the Nikon Zfc. I have had so much fun playing around with this camera, and honestly, if I didn't have already a video-centric camera, I would probably pick this up since it's literally perfect. It does everything that you want it to do, super easy to use. And I think content creators, especially if they want to go and start YouTube, the Nikon Zfc, it's Nikon's dream vlogging camera, and it's pretty darn good. And I'm really, really excited for what Nikon's gonna do in the future, because if they already are doing this on their more video-centric camera, then it can only get better from here. So I'm really, really happy that Nikon focused on a more content creator friendly camera, and they did a really good job. We do have a Nikon Zfc at San Jose camera. I will leave the link down below. I will see you guys in the next video.